let's move on to the last section, which is around your international career. So 2007, back that far, that long ago, we were talking about years, was your first was your first exposure to international football in terms of the England pathway. If you look back and you look, obviously, having been involved during that period internationally, how has it changed? How has it developed? How does it look, similar or different?
Oh, hugely different. I think so. When I first was involved with the under-15s, I remember we played like twice a year, which I think, I'm not sure what the age groups even are now. I think they might have changed slightly, but I know that they meet more frequently than that. And there's much more opportunity to come together and train together, obviously with the best players in the country, which is always, that's what you want. You just want to play with and against the best players to challenge yourself. And I think there's definitely more opportunities to do that. And there's more opportunities to play games than ever before, I think. I think we used to play Germany twice a year, and that was kind of it. But now there's definitely more opportunities to play. I remember hearing a couple of years ago that it was like, oh, the 15s are off to America. I thought, wow, that's brilliant. I've had that. So I think that's brilliant. That it's changed hugely. I think the level of competition has changed. There's more girls playing football, so it's even more intense competition to make those squads, and the England teams are getting better and better every single year. So I think that from that point of view, it's fantastic. And also alongside, obviously, the WSL is getting stronger year on year now. I think it's a huge testament to English football that all the players from abroad want to come here. I can't speak on behalf of all players. I can speak on behalf of all foreign players that I speak to or have some contact with. But there is definitely an overwhelming message of, England's the place to be. WSL is the league to be in. And I think that coincides nicely with kind of the development of the players at England and the England teams, because then they're involved with these clubs. Maybe from a younger age, they can be around. Like, I didn't play professional football proper professional football till I was 24. And some players are playing professional football, don't have any school commitments at the age of 16, 17, 18. And that, whilst that's obviously, that's your own personal sacrifice decision, whether you want to sacrifice academics that early. And that's a difficult decision now. But that, in terms of your own development as a player, the exposure to a higher level of training, the training facilities are incredible now as well, that we get access to. Not just with St. George's Park, but all over the country, the stadiums, the pitches, the training grounds. The players that you train with and against, the coaching you get, all of that from a much younger age. So it's fantastic. And it's in a much different place, a much better place. It's fantastic to see. I love having contact with some of the younger players. If I get to do RTC visits over the years, or messages on social media or videos people are sending me of, look at the training that I did in my back garden. And it's brilliant to see so many young girls and boys motivated and wanting to play for top teams. Yeah,
no, that's great. And if you can look back, and what are your recollections of the call or the contact that was made with you when you had your first senior call up, and obviously you made your debut against Switzerland in 2017. What are your recollections of those two moments in your England journey?
So the first one, I remember them both vividly. I could give you a minute play-by-play, but I don't want to bore you. But the first one, I remember having I was coming in from, I think it must have been uni. I think I was 20, so it must have been uni. Maybe it was a weekend. I don't know. Maybe I'd come in from work, because I still worked a Saturday job at this point. And I remember going into the conservatory, and my phone had rung, and so I went to get it, and I went, Dad, I've got a missed call from the England senior administrator. And my mum was sitting there in the rocking chair. She said, well, ring her back immediately. I'm like, well, right, okay, I will. And I rung her back and she said, "Oh, Brent wants to speak to you." He was a manager at the time. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? I'm in trouble. Anyway, so Brent comes on the phone. He says, "Look, we've got a bit of an injury. We want you to come down and train with us for a few days. We've got a couple of World Cup qualifiers. We want you around." And he was like, "What are you doing? Do you want to come?" I was like, "Yes, I'll be there." And then the administrator came on the phone and was like, "Right, what's your address? We'll send you a car." And I was just like, oh my goodness, they're sending me a car. I can't believe it. My parents were like, "Well, pack, hurry up and pack." And so that was that. I don't know if it was my dad's birthday. That might have been a separate one. There was one where it was my dad's birthday and there was a whole who flat. But yeah, that was the main one. It was just excitement, and I was like, why am I being called? And I just couldn't wait to return the phone call and find out what was happening. And then I just wait. I think we were down south, I think, for those. So I think I just couldn't wait to get going and experience it, really.
Yeah. And then your debut.
Yeah, and so that was we were away. We were building into the Euros. So this was our final friendlies before the tournament. And I was like the number 4 goalkeeper, really. So obviously I was going and training and just mostly I was trying to help the strikers with shooting practice and that was my main role. But yeah, I was just trying to learn and from the players and trying to make the Euro squad, and knew it would be a tough ask kind of thing. And then Mark pulled me to one side at pre-match and he said, you're going to be the second goalkeeper today. So if anything happens to KB, we're going to put you on. And I was like, okay, all right, fine, no problem. I was stunned. I was delighted because I felt like I'd been waiting a really long time for that moment. But at the same time, I was like, well, nothing's going to happen. I don't know why. It's just like a polite conversation. And then 20 minutes before the end, I think it was, he said, "Go get warm." So off I went and I got warm, and then he brought me on for, 15, 20 minutes. I think I got in the end, 20 minutes, if you include stoppage time. And I just loved it. We won the game quite comfortably 4-0, but it was just an incredible feeling. My dad, there's a picture of me running on, me and KB are hugging, and I don't mind a hug, but this was I wanted this to be the shortest hug in the history of hugs. I was just like, I want to get on the pitch. And then, more minutes. Yeah. I was running as fast as my little legs would carry me. And my dad said afterwards, "Oh, it looked like you'd been given the keys to the chocolate factory. That's how big your smile was." So it was just, there's not much you can really say. It's just one of those moments where you've been working so hard. Yeah. And I've been around the squad for probably 3 years by that point. Sort of in and out with, if there was an injury, I'd be brought in, but was never, if we had a qualifier, a European qualifier, I was never in the squad. I was always in the stand. So I was never really in, it was never looking like I was going to play, if we're being honest. Yeah. But I was working really hard, and I really wanted to be given a chance to play at some point, because to play for your country is a feeling like no other. Yeah. And it's such a huge honour and privilege. And it's one every time. You never know when it's going to be your last time. So I never take it for granted at any point. I just always try and be as present as possible and as appreciative as possible. And that was one of those moments where, I'm glad I didn't know that far in advance. I knew quite close to it, but I'd been working so hard and tirelessly for that moment. And I was so glad it came. And I got the opportunity. It was brilliant.
Yeah. And after that point, then obviously you go to support the squad in the Euros, and then 2019 you're selected in the squad to go to France for the World Cup. So what is it like as a professional to go and represent your country at the biggest world stage in tournament football?
I think I was always told like the World Cup is the biggest thing you'll ever experience. And when I went to the Euros, I thought, I don't think it can get much bigger than this, to be honest, because it's like to be involved in a major tournament. And even though I knew I was never going to play, I very much felt a real part of the preparation. I trained with the team every day. We did a lot of work on penalties, and we did a lot of shooting practices that I was always involved in. And so I really felt like I helped even if I didn't, I felt like I did. And it was a brilliant experience. That was probably the first time I'd felt like real crowds of like tens of thousands of people. So I think that was, I felt like a real buzz, the media buzz. That first tournament, even though I wasn't in the squad, I still very much felt a part of it and had that real big experience. And then I didn't think it could get bigger than that, but then going to a World Cup, it did get bigger than that, and I was like, wow, this is brilliant. This is fun. This is everything that you've worked for. You've come to represent your country and try and win a World Cup. I used to write short stories when I was a kid. I used to like draw myself in a goal, and that was always the dream, to go to a World Cup, obviously to represent your country and go to a World Cup, and to achieve that finally was fantastic. And we didn't come away with what we wanted. Obviously we wanted to win gold and win the trophy, and so it was a huge roller coaster. I think up until the semi-final, it was incredible. Like the game, it all seems like one big blur. It felt like everything was just running smoothly. I think our game against Norway, I felt like that was like a real big standout performance. It felt like we were under control. Everything was going to plan. I think I'd never been to the south of France before either, so that was like new, and there was a real buzz around the place.
Nice environment.
They were incredible. I mean, it was unbelievable. Like the standard of everything, I was just amazed. The stadiums were brilliant, and then there was so many fans that came out and supported. My friends and family came over. I probably just there's no words to really describe it. I think it was the top, the elite of the elite going head to head, and that game against the USA was just like
intense.
It was intense is the perfect word. And I know we fell short, and there are areas that obviously we will definitely look to improve in, but it felt like we were so close. It felt like we were a whisker away. And so it was a real emotional roller coaster that whole time, but incredible experience, one I will never ever forget, and one I'm very grateful that I've had the opportunity to experience.
And if you was to think back to the World Cup in particular, what would you say the biggest evolution in goalkeeping has been from when you started to now, in terms of what we're seeing, the requirements of the goalkeeper? What would be the biggest evolution you'd say you've seen?
Well, I think when I first started, and even to a certain extent now, people were very derogatory, I think, when it comes to female goalkeepers. But now it's actually nice. It sounds weird, but it's nice to see a certain level of expectation where people aren't surprised when goalkeepers make good saves now, or are good distributors of the ball, or make good decisions, or make a world-class save, or keep their team in the game. They're not surprised by these moments anymore, because the game and also goalkeeping has come such a long way in such a short space of time. And I think even if you look at the Euros to the World Cup, the standard expected and the standard of goalkeeping changed drastically in what, 2-3 years, however many years. Like the standard that was expected, that people expected. And I always think when people expectation is really a compliment, because it like pressure and expectation are kind of like, they go hand in hand. it's people expect you to do something, so you feel the pressure of that. But that is just a compliment of people knowing that you can do something.
Can do it, yeah.
So I think that was really nice to see, and it was actually really great to see a few standout goalkeeper performances as well, where people, the media, or the feeling post the game, from players, and was that the goalkeeper was really good today, or like the England goalkeeper is obviously always good, but I'm saying, like there was times where, we played against the Argentina goalkeeper, for example, like had a worldy game, and it wasn't. And I think Endler as well had a really good tournament. And people are actually starting to talk about goalkeepers as being great players.
Yeah.
Sounds stupid, but that was never.
No.
It was just like, well, the goalkeeper's just there, like they're not really contributing. I definitely feel like that before the World Cup, people looked at female goalkeepers in particular and saw them as a real weakness and were really negative and at times derogatory. Whereas now I feel like the expectations changing, so we have to step up and deliver.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really nice feeling to know that also the people who've been a part of that have driven that change. And that's a huge testament to over the years, So
no, absolutely. And I suppose just to finish off the international section, just looking back at everything so far, what's been your fondest England moment to date?
I honestly don't think I could pick one, because I know it's shocking that I can't do that, but like Wembley was huge. The occasion of it was huge. Playing in front of that many people was huge. Getting selected for that game, probably, I know people were talking about it as the most historic game in English female football. To be picked to play in that game was unbelievable. The Brazil game I really enjoyed as well. I felt like that was my first home game against Australia was a really memorable one for me. The one against Brazil at Middlesbrough, I also enjoyed the way we played that day. I felt like we had a lot of the ball, which was fun. The Wembley game, going to the World Cup, my debut. I don't think I could pick one.
There's that many good moments.
Yeah, I think like every time I get to play it's an opportunity. I just love it. I love it.
It's like a new high.
Yeah. That the feeling of pulling on that shirt and getting a cap for your country is. Yeah. It just means so much, because I love playing at the top, and to have gone through the journey. I feel like I've been on a real journey with football. I've sacrificed a lot. I've experienced a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and to get those moments to work tirelessly all year round, to do all the extra gym sessions, analysis sessions, and do all those things that no one really sees, and then you get that. It's also just so much fun. I just love it. So I think anytime I get to play, I love that. But then also going to major tournaments, the two major tournaments are big standout. I think my debut is always going to stand out because it was just first one, and the home games are always really special because Wembley was huge because it's Wembley. I'd never played at Wembley before. And that game was just, was huge. There's no, Mace, I can't. I'm just, but I just,
No, it's great. What's great is you've got a clear passion playing for your country, and that's what it should be. It should be a real privilege and should be the pinnacle of what you do. And I think you represent that really well. So, right, just to finish off with, as always, quick fire questions.
Right.
So you got the first answer that comes to your head. So your favourite training session?
Drill.
Could be anything. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I like doing explosive diving drills because it makes me feel like I can fly.
Okay. Good. Any super?
Quick fast.
Next one. Any superstitions?
No, I don't think I have superstitions. I think I always put my left boot on before my right boot, but it's not a superstition, it's just habit. I think I have a lot of habits. Like I like to walk on the pitch before, and I think that's not superstitions. Like I wouldn't like take my right boot off to put my left boot. You know what I mean? But
so if you didn't do it, it wouldn't affect you. Like, okay, no. It's not very quick fire, this, is it?
Sorry.
Favorite goalkeeper?
Right. There's so many. I like taking bits of like right now. Okay, right now to Stegen.
Perfect. And then your biggest footballing influence?
Oh, my family. I think that's probably they've hugely shaped. Hugely shaped my career. Hugely. That was meant to be quick. My family.
Okay, good. Okay, so Mary, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. It's been fascinating to listen to you speak, and I think the biggest thing has been your open and your honesty, talking about your journey, some of the challenges you've faced, probably the early days when it was hard, when you had to not just play football, but your education, work, fit it around, and to achieve what you've achieved today is testament to your perseverance and your mindset in terms of chasing that. So I think some of the messages will be hugely beneficial for young goalkeepers, for fellow professionals, coaches and managers to listen to. So thanks very much for that. Thanks for your time, and obviously good luck with your opening fixture of the new season.
Thank you very much. That was fun.